Hi, I'm Peter Tauck, and I'd like to welcome you to the first in a series of training videos designed specifically for travel agents. As we put this program together, we've tried to design it in such a way that these various training videos can be referred back to from time to refresh your memory, to get updates on things that we're doing in the industry, new things we're coming out with, new innovations. And I hope by the end of this, you're able to come away with an understanding of what might differentiate us from the other products and how our market might be different from other products. We can't be all things to all people. When a client walks through your door and asks you for advice, you've got to find ways to identify what it is they're truly looking for. And then once you understand that, really be able to look through the paper promises that we all put out and really understand and know what the right mix is for your client. So which of your clients are right for the Tauck experience? These people tend to be more well-traveled. They're your clients that are maybe a little more well-educated. They're inquisitive about the world. They're curious. They're social and outgoing. They appreciate quality and the better things in life and are willing to pay a little bit more for that nicer, better located hotel or some finer dining. What types of things can you do at the beginning of the trip to make sure they all start experiencing one another and make friends and get along and get that sort of group dynamic going? Because that's actually a great advantage people cite to traveling, is the sharing it with others and like-minded people and the interesting people that they meet. It might be that. It might be a New England tour. One of the things you hear when you travel through New England is you hear about Revolutionary War history. So there's a way that you can choreograph your itinerary through New England in such a way that the history comes at you almost chronologically, whether it's Boston or Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys up on the Hudson River and West Point. And if you can craft an itinerary so that at the end of it, someone comes away saying, you know what? I was kind of going to see the fall foliage, but I came away with an incredible understanding, a new understanding of what really unfolded during the Revolutionary War. And so I think it's that choreography that is so important. This isn't, we're not an operator that just goes out and puts components together and says, here's a package, right? We are thinking about how can we create an emotional and intellectual experience that brings a person back changed. If someone comes back, and says, I'm different as a result of taking this trip, or I look at some aspect of life in a different way than I did before I left, and I think we've done our job. I'd like to just give you sort of a brief background of our business and of our family. My grandfather started in 1925 as kind of a lark. He was a traveling salesman and threw an ad in the Newark Evening News inviting people along on a sales trip. He got 3 people that to respond to that ad, and a tour company was born. He grew it slowly, and in 1935 he got the first tour broker's license, which was issued to him by the Interstate Commerce Commission. So I remember it was 1958, the first air charter that was ever flown was flown by Tauck Tours. The national parks up to that point had only been accessed by rail, and it was my dad who really said, you know what, the jet airplane is here. We can get to those national parks by jet airplane. And so he was the first operator ever to take people out of the East Coast markets and fly them out west to go and experience the national parks. In the 1970s, he was at the leading edge of sort of the soft adventure revolution. He was a skier and came up with this incredible opportunity for taking people in the summertime into the mountains of Western Canada, and started a program called heli hiking, which was phenomenally innovative in its day. I'd like to give you a brief overview of the different brands and products that we offer around the world. Now keep in mind that later on in this series, we're going to get into each one of these product lines and give you a very in-depth understanding of not only what the brands are all about and where they go, but which markets that they serve, so you can better match them up. Our core product is what I would call our classic land journeys. Here in the United States and Canada, we have over 27 trips from 7 to 15 days. The trips operate in Eastern Canada and down through the New England states and fall foliage in the fall of the year. We do the Mid-Atlantic states, products down in the antebellum South in places like New Orleans and Charleston, Savannah. Moving out west, we have a broad array of products in the United States national parks and along the Pacific coast, up through the Pacific Northwest and into the Canadian Rockies. About 20 years ago, we started operating trips in Europe, and this has been one of our fastest growing segments. Today, we have over 40 products in Europe, ranging from 8 to 24 days. A heavy concentration of those trips is in Italy and France because of the high demand we have for those countries here in the U.S. market. But overall, our product in Europe goes all the way from Great Britain down to Greece and the Aegean, from Scotland over to Slovakia, from Scandinavia down to Spain. One of the fastest growing areas for us today is what we call our exotics program. There are 20+ programs here operating from 8 to 20 days to those far-reaching, more exotic destinations in the world. Places like Asia, the South Pacific, Africa with Egypt and classic Tanzanian safaris in South Africa. We do India. We do South America, Central America and the Panama Canal. And more recently, we've added the Mideast with Israel and Jordan. We also have a number of offerings to destinations that we do with small ships and with riverboats. Let's take riverboats first. We got into this business about 10 years ago. It's been one of the fastest growing markets in the U.S. The demand has been phenomenal. We went out and designed our own boats specifically for the U.S. market, and today we have the newest fleet of riverboats operating in the rivers of Europe. We've got over 10 products from 8 to 24 days, from Amsterdam to the Black Sea. We do the Rhine, the Main, the Danube, the Moselle. Moving on to small ships, we have over 12 journeys on 6 different ships ranging from 40 to 200 passengers. The trips are anywhere from 8 to 16 days. Again, our focus is the destination, not on the ship. We just feel that a smaller ship with 40 or 60 or 100, 200 passengers gives an opportunity to have a much more in-depth experience, because with the smaller groups and the ability of those ships to get into places that the big ships can't go, it provides a much greater opportunity to have a very enriching destination experience. We do places like the Panama Canal, the Dalmatian coast, the Aegean, the Mediterranean, the Baltics, the Galapagos Islands, and more recently, small cruises to Iceland. Every agent has an opportunity to sell to families. In 2003, after watching market trends for a number of years, we were the first operator to launch a product line specifically to serve this market. We called it Bridges, and the concept behind Bridges was a shared enrichment product for families to get out in the world together and do things together. Unlike so many previous family products where the idea was to separate the kids from the parents or separate the kids from the grandkids, our concept and what the market was telling us was that people wanted to do things together again. Here in North America, some of our most popular trips are Red Rocks and Painted Canyons, where we take our families to the Grand Canyon, to Bryce and Zion. One of my favorites was the cowboy country, up through Jackson and the Grand Tetons and Cody, Wyoming, and to a ranch, and then on to Mount Rushmore. Over in Europe, we have Castles and Kings, which does London and Paris, or our trip Italia Bella, from Rome to Venice. We have family safaris in Tanzania, and we also do the highlands of Ecuador with the Galapagos Islands. Lastly, I'd like to tell you about Tauck Culturious. As the baby boomers mature and travel more, there's a segment of that market that's been asking for more culturally immersive travel, more active travel, smaller groups. They want more depth rather than breadth. We currently offer a number of trips from 8 to 12 days to places like South Africa and Namibia, Tuscany and the Cinque Terre in Italy. This truly is the market of the future. I remember my dad once saying to me, you know, the whole world's been discovered, but we haven't discovered all the ways that you can see the world. And I think that's what we're all about, is going in and finding innovative ways to see it. You know, what we've always done is look to craft an authentic and life-enriching experience. How do you create these authentic, life-enriching experiences? I think part of it comes from just having been around for as long as we've been around. We have lots of contacts. We have lots of boots on the ground. So much of our mental bandwidth is taken up by dealing with the logistics of travel. And what we've found is when we do all that for the customer, when we can strip all that away and leave them totally free to not worry about anything, they can totally engage with the destination. Their entire mental resource is there, focused on what they're seeing, whether it's natural beauty, whether it's a culture, whatever it might be. This sort of philosophy we've had from the beginning, this all-inclusive philosophy, has so many dimensions to it. You know, one, it's an opportunity for us to truly go into a destination, put all the individual pieces together and choreograph what we feel is the best destination experience. But as we mentioned before, it also gives the client the freedom not to worry about buying options or where they're going to have their next meal or what they're going to do on a particular time. It frees them up from having to make all those choices themselves while traveling that allows them to truly engage in the destination. The other thing for the customer is value. When all these things are included, they know up front what their vacation cost is going to be, and because of our buying power with all these components, it truly represents good value for them. In today's marketplace, it has huge implications for you, the travel agent, as well. When you sell a Tauck trip, you're getting commission on their entire vacation. In a world where increasingly you're only giving more and more opportunities to sell a core product, and the customer then gets to the destination and spends the majority of their vacation dollar in the destination. When you sell a Tauck tour, you get commissions on an entire vacation. Well, our time's up for today. I want to thank you for joining us. I also want to remind you that the objective of today wasn't to make you a Tauck expert. I've given you a broad overview of what the Tauck product's all about, the destinations we go to, the types of markets that we serve, and what I feel makes Tauck special. In future segments, we're going to really drill down deep on the things you've heard today so that coming away from this broader series, you will really be a Tauck expert and be on your way to not only higher commissions, but more satisfied customers as well. In the meantime, here on our site, we've got a blog. We'd love to have you communicate with us. Any questions that you might have or suggestions for making this series more educational for you. In the meantime, thanks again for being with us today, and I look forward to our next session together.